don't you just tell us how you're connected to this piece of land right here?
When did you move up here?
I was born in 1931, December 15th, at the junction of Haines and here, which is 4 miles north of the junction. And I lived there on the farm by the South Dakota coal mine, the state mine.
So you started really great. So how old were you when you moved up to this place?
Yeah, well, we moved up here when Mom was about to have Shirley.
And Shirley's 82, correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
Shirley's 82.
Yeah.
Shirley's 82.
yeah. She was born in 30.
Mm-hmm.
40.
So you were 9.
40, excuse me. Jim just corrected me and he's right.
That's John.
Or John.
It's okay, Bill.
And I made 2 mistakes.
It's okay, Bill.
Is it all right? Yeah. I hear you.
So you were 9 years old when you moved up here.
About that, but I stayed down at the state mine the last year. We lived down on the place at the junction. And I'm a child of the Depression years, the dirty 30s. We moved up here in 39, the winter, spring of 39. I stayed down at the state mine with my cousins, Junior Davy.
So you stayed at the mine for the first year while the rest of the family lived here on the place.
Yeah, well, I'd finished 2nd grade out down at Haines.
That's right.
I finished 2nd grade out at Haines. And I went to school with Vita, and my teacher's name was Miss Quality.
Is that the little one? Is that the one by your place in Haines? Is that the school? Is that
Yeah,
the one?
yeah.
That is that one half court.
My Uncle Carl come back. He was a truck driver in Minnesota, in St. Paul. He drove down there and he come home. He worked out lived here with us for a while. And the house, see now I gotta go back again to the house. The house was over in a different place and we built on over there on the north side of the house. And Grandpa had the house here was nice. Seemed like it was huge, but it wasn't.
Why don't you tell me about how you moved the house? Tell me what that looked like.
The house got moved in 44.
Okay.
We moved the house from where it sat over there by the granaries about. And we moved it from 44 over to where it's at now, which was a hog yard.
Right.
Hog.
So did Philip build the house or did George build the house?
My dad never built. He was a kid. He wasn't born until
Right.
7.
So George actually grew up in the sod house. Is that right?
Oh, I would guess so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, his sisters. Yeah, they took it down too.
Okay. Right. And what did he make the girls do?
They made them put all the sod back where they had dug it out of the ground.
Was he a mean? Did he do that? Did he make the girls put the sod back because he was mean or because he was worried about the land?
Well, he was hard on the girls. Let's put it that way. He was hard on his sister.
Who are you talking about? Uncle George?
No,
Yeah.
Uncle Philip.
He was.
No, Philip.
The
Philip was Grandpa, the dad.
Yes.
Not George.
Not George. George's dad.
Okay.
And Philip made the girls put him back. But I wanted to know if he was was he concerned about the land, or was he kind of being just a jerk?
To put that sod, no, they put it back in there, and that was. I think I found the spot, but I don't know. It's down there about the others. It's hard to tell, but anyway, he made them put all that sod back. And now we're back to where they were building the house
That's
again.
okay. I asked that. I'm jumping around on you.
Yeah,
So could you tell me a memory you have? I know you were born in 37, right?
I
31.
was
31, sorry.
31.
So I know you were born in 31, so your memories of the Depression are kind of towards the end of the Depression. But tell me a memory you have of the Great Depression.
Oh, the bugs
The bums.
and the bums, the transients on the railroad, people moving, their Model Ts, and old Chevrolets. Everybody pulled a trailer at that time till they met their match with our modern day. People probably have more trailers now. But on the road, being I live next to Highway 12, which is a U.S. highway, it had a lot of traffic on it. It's the old Yellowstone Trail,
Right.
actually.
Right.
And the railroad tracks used to run along the state line pretty much. It run right through White Butte. And
So the bums used to jump off the train.
yeah,
And
before
you
they
were-
got to town, they had what they called Hobo Jungle. And I don't know where exactly that at. I never knew about. Johnny, do you know wherever that they were talking about the Hobo Jungle?
We used to have one in Hettinger.
Yeah, but I don't ever know where the exact spot was.
What's a hobo
Remember,
jungle?
Oh, that was down
that's
by
where the
lake.
hobos stayed.
Oh,
They'd
that's-
get off and get on again to ride. They'd stay there for a day or two.
The hobo by
Get a
Hettinger
couple if they could. And some of them were artists, you know. We had people come in there. We had a couple Indians come in there, done a lot of painting. I was born when I remember the old Rexall drugstore down there where the Mecca's at kind of now, but not exactly. But they had a big mural in there of Indians breaking horses. It was a great big mural. And a lot of the people, when I talk to people that were older than I am at that time, have told me about those things. He would come back, but he would do that, and he was a famous artist, one of them guys. But I don't know I don't remember their names. Them people could name them. But.
So tell me about the bugs.
Oh, you're talking about the 30s. Yeah, it was really dry, and they had a lot of them tumble bugs was what I called them. They'd stand on their head with their hind legs. They'd roll dung balls up.
Oh, yeah, dung beetles.
Dung beetles, is that what they call
I
them?
think so.
Had a lot of them. There were a lot of snakes, or quite a few snakes, a lot of things like that, you know, around. And
And someone would come up your mom to eat. Ask
oh yeah, okay. Talking about the transients, used to be a lot of them on the road. They'd come in there, and Mom would shuffle us under the bed. You know, we'd go in and get under the bed, and she'd give them in and give them rather than keep them there. She'd give them chicken and send them on their way or something. You know.
She was
always
afraid for you, so she put you
Well,
under the bed.
yeah, we would get shuffled under the bed, and we'd stay there till they were gone.
Okay. So give me a story from the Kansas City Township School.
Well, that's coming up. That we moved here in the 40.
Can you remember who all went there?
Oh, the school was full when I first started there. All the Cipher boys, some Eckrods.
And did you walk or did you ride your horse?
No, we walked to school all the time. We did have a barn. There was a barn there, but mostly us kids took that barn down. It was about to fall down anyway, but
How far was it that you had to walk?
2 miles up here by where whatchamacallit lives now.
Where Pagels live.
Pagels lives. Pagels lives.
Right. So tell me where the kids, like when I think back and I think of Joey as a child, I'm just sure he was a good kid and he was straight A kid. You were just so well mannered.
No, but I was. No, I had my faults, I suppose. But no, I considered myself a good kid. Yeah, I did.
Your
I
mother
was
thought
very,
you were.
I was very loyal to my parents. Mom was a caretaker, really, listened to all your woes and stuff like that. But Dad, he was a good father, and see that leads into
That's okay.
other things. How I come about saying those
Tell me-
things
tell me
is
a-
because I talked to his brother. Uncle John Nagel when we were, after we were married.
Right.
So the time span still,
Okay.
it's so hard
Well,
to,
tell me a good story about
you'd have
your
to say-
dad.
Huh?
Tell me a good story about your dad.
Uncle George always had a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah, he used to chew tobacco too, depend on if it's fire season and what have you.
He was a wonderful father-in-law.
He was a very nice man.
And
Always wore a suit on Sunday.
And so, could you describe your dad to me? I don't know him, but I feel like I know him, and sometimes I feel like I walk the same path as him. So tell me a description of your dad.
He was a good man.
yeah, well,
He's
said
kind of
that.
bald-headed, so you're not going to make it.
Bullheaded,
No, I
but
don't
not
know.
bald.
It's, pardon me.
Did you have particular chores that you guys had to
Oh,
do as kids?
we all had our jobs to do. Yep, had our own chores. I guess one thing I could say about that is not to the end of the corrals out there by the barn over. That there used to be a little barn there that was kind of our dairy house, or we had cattle in there. And I traded all my chores, all for milking, because I hated milking. I despised milking. If they'd have made me a dairy man, I'd have probably committed suicide. So I hated milking. So I would trade those chores that my brothers and sisters would do. But my brothers always rode me about that too. Yeah, we had to do all the milking, yeah. But they don't say what I had to do. I mean, I fed all the cattle and pretty much, not all the time, If my brother Walt was here, he says, yeah, you didn't do it all yourself. No, I didn't.
So what was your favorite? What was your favorite chore?
My favorite chores?
Going to town, drinking beer.
Did you like farming or did you like the animals?
Oh, I like farming.
You did? I thought you did.
I didn't mind farming. I like farming, but it's so different than nowadays. I know absolutely nothing about farming nowadays.
Me neither.
Hardly.
So
but-
okay, we talked a little bit about.
But I would say my dad and his brother, Uncle John Nagel. They were in the barn one day feeding the or in the barn one day, and they were going to feed the horses, and Uncle John said, I'll tell you one about your dad. He walked in with the oats bucket, or, for the horses, and somehow I don't know if he dropped it or what happened, but anyway, he spilled the oats. Grandpa went to get the strap, the harness, some of the heim strap or something, and was going to give Uncle John a licking, with that strap. And Dad jumped on him. I said, there's enough of this. He jumped on Grandpa, took him back, and they held him. And they kind of give a Johnny Cash version of that. Or Uncle John Nagel said, yeah, and your grandpa, he was a tough old bugger. And he was about 50-something, probably 50 years old. He says he bit like a croc. He what the hell did he do?
He bit like a crocodile and he kicked like a mule.
Kicked like a mule, something like that, yeah. And he says, Dad just kept saying, hang on to his feet, hang on to his feet. So they kept hanging on to him. And they held down. They wouldn't let him up, and he finally said to give up. And I guess I'm talking about the old time when a word meant something. Dad, at that time, said, no, Dad, we're not letting you up until you promise to quit being so hard on the girls. I've told some of these kids about this stuff. But anyway, because he was so hard on the girls, worked them hard. Well, he had 6 girls, then Aunt Jenny come along. And Aunt Jenny was the only one in the boys section, and Uncle Carl was the youngest brother. And so finally, when they had him down there, I don't know how long, Uncle John said, it was a while, we had him down and kept him down and wouldn't let him up. And Dad said, not until you give your word that you don't, that he backs off, in other words, a little bit. He says, all right, just something finally give in. Of course, why, I don't know what the hell, but anyway, they're choking him down, what have you. And after that day, he kept his word. So, but, but Dad was like 16 or 18 years old at that time. But they were young men. They were strong. Them men in them days, kids were pretty strong.
Sure.
But and
What happened to that Uncle John? He just
Uncle
disappeared,
John?
didn't he?
Moved to
no,
Bonner
he
in,
we
Missouri.
last time we met Uncle John was from when after we lived up here, we were up to Uncle Jake's, and he had the old Ford had a 41. It could have been after, because that was wartime here. The war just started. He had a 41. It had the grill like the 41, just like our 46 Chevy truck. Had that same grill on it, and he put a kind of a camper on the back, and Edna and Betty and
James, Leo, and
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 the
It.
two boys, Leo and It. It's the youngest girl, they called it. But they went to Montana.
Who was it?
It was
youngest
the
daughter.
youngest daughter. What was her name?
Whose youngest daughter?
Uncle
Uncle
John's.
John's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there's Leo and James. And James, I remember when we stayed out there.
We had our James.
And
with
they wanted us to stay there. We was at Milltown.
Mm-hmm.
And Uncle John worked at the Bonner Mill. That was Louisiana Pacific Mill there at that time. That's where Uncle John worked. And he loved to hunt. He always go hunt and stuff like that. And anyway, we
stayed there. We stayed
Oh.
there because every time we got up, they'd say, "Oh, you can't go today because there was a blizzard and you can't get over the mountains."
Well, first of all, that was the first time, yeah.
Next day was, I think your tires aren't blown up or
Yeah,
something.
the
Every
flat
day.
tire or
constant-
something,
No,
I don't
this is just.
Grandpa, so we've talked a little bit about your dad.
Okay.
Could we talk a little bit about Margaret? Could you tell me a little about who she was and how she was as a person, and maybe a favorite memory of her?
Well,
Broad question.
Oh, that's a lot of questions.
I don't
Just
know.
tell them how often your mother and dad met each other before they got married.
I don't even know how they
4
met.
times.
But
Really?
yeah, I
Tell
think.
us that.
And they
Grandma.
lived
How-
over there south of.
They met each other 4 times.
Do you remember
before
where
they got married.
John
That was
Ely
it.
lived over here? You remember
And I've
Joe
got the
Ely
wedding
up there
picture,
by
and she
Jackie's
was the
and
most
them? Where
beautiful
Jackie and
woman.
them
His
lived
mother,
No.
she was the most beautiful woman you could ask for.
And so he went up. George went up to the Greff farm. So can you tell us what he went to the Greff farm, like how that?
I have no idea why he
Oh,
did
I
that.
don't know. I don't know how Mom got down here. It seemed like the best that I can remember, but I can't say that. But I don't remember how they ever met. But I thought it was down here at. I don't know who lived. I used to know who used to live there. From John Ely's this way. Pretty old. What the hell's that crazy guy that climbed the tree?
Oh, Dickinson?
Dickinson.
Didn't
He
live up
eventually
here?
lived there, but that's the old Ely, John
That's
Ely.
John Ely.
There was just a little shack down there at that time. Everything so
Loads of bees up there.
different, but yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
tell me about Margaret.
Well, anyway,
She was a good mother.
yeah.
Hey, Dad.
I don't.
Remember last time I was here and I asked you to share what one of your fondest memories was of your mom? And you said that your fondest memory was the care that she gave Uncle Leroy.
Huh? Oh, she worked for. Yeah.
So what was she doing with Leroy?
He had polio
Yeah, polio.
and one leg
Well,
wouldn't
I
grow.
was at that time. I was over in Miles City. Mom and I was. Mom liked to play the slot machine.
having her tonsils out.
But we went over there, and I had my tonsils out.
Boy, that's
today.
all inherited too, isn't it?
Then one day when they give me surgery, they was going to take my tonsils and adenoids out. And when they went to do that, somehow or another, they cut somewhere wrong, is what I'm guessing. And they had to stop because I bled so terrible. So we had to go back. I never did get my adelates out of that. Our dad called Mom, and he goes, "Leroy, something wrong with Leroy. He can't walk." I set him up, and he takes a couple steps, and he falls down. And so we left there. We went home, and loaded Leroy, come back to Miles City.
They let him out on the. Your dad put him out, and he tried going to Mama and fell.
That was when we come back.
Oh, okay.
Or yeah, when we come back. When we went back to get him, when we took him out there. Yeah, she spent a lot of time. Her Shirley.
He would have never walked if she didn't every day exercise those legs.
Yeah,
Dedicated.
Yes.
What about that Bonanza mini bike? What do you remember
I
about
don't want
that?
to hear talk about you guys. I can't even think about the stuff. I can think about it, but I can't.
You
get
can
it
go
in
back
mind,
70, but you can't go back 50?
No.
Remember setting me on there for my first time?
Do you remember when I spanked you last?
Probably not. But I'm sure it only happened once.
Yeah.
Right. So I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
going up to the.
No, not that he was that way.
You
no,
remember
no, he
you
was
set
pretty
me
good.
on the mini bike and I drove it down to the end of
Yeah,
the block
but-
and turned
but they-
around, and then what happened?
Why would you
Huh?
love
Do you
him?
recall what happened
So you
after I
beat your children,
turned the
but
mini
you
bike
kept
around and
them.
headed back towards the trailer house?
Mom,
Hit the avenue sign. Hit the avenue sign on that, bent it over because I
don't
couldn't
remember
touch the ground.
I don't remember.
You're the reason I'm in motocross at 60.
No, I thought it was because you stuck your finger in the sprocket when you went to shift it.
No, that was a different
That was
friend.
Tim.
But I
That
could,
was Tim, wasn't it?
That was Tim's friend.
Oh,
Remember that
Yeah,
time
well-
when we was at a wedding once, and you were telling us a story about who's the guy that rode in up here in North Dakota, rode his horse into the bar.
oh, that was what was his name?
Bruce Olson.
No,
it's
this
not-
is out in Montana.
Oh, this is
The
a
guy that
movie star.
what the hell was his
Drove
name?
his
They
horse.
bought the place, or that we was dealing on. His dad was real rich, come from North Dakota here.
And he rode his horse into the bar.
Oh yeah, well there was a lot of people used to
Right.
do that. In Hungary.
But I remember how we were at a wedding and you were telling that story, and I stand up, oh yeah, I remember that. And you were the first one to ever react to my bullshit. Oh, Jim, you weren't even born yet. Gotta go.
Yeah, you were born.
You're a rock star, Dad. You're my hero.
nice story to talk about your mother,
Yeah.
your mom. Something you can remember.
Well, I was going to say, anyway, I had my 41 Ford. I just fixed it up. And we went to Elgin to a dance one time, Dominic and I. Coming back home, I fell asleep and I run the right wheels off of one of them cement bridges, where just the shoulders, they got and I dropped the right wheels off. Well, it blew out both of the right.
Put them away.
Blew out both of the right side tires, the front and back. Bent the drive line on that 41 Ford, had a solid drive line, and it bent that out of it, bent the front axle, bust a hole in the transmission. So went up. Anyway, I got the car back home and got it all fixed up real nice. And I went out here and it wouldn't start, so I wanted to push. So I'd done it myself, and I was going to push it. Like this grade, they'd fill. That's a lot of fill in here now since they widened this out. And I pushed it down to come roll off a little bit. I popped the clutch and started. Well, it didn't start, so I come in the house and I was bitching, God damn, nobody wants to help me. I smashed it. Oh no, I went and got something and run into the back of it. It rolled in the back of it. And my mom come by. She sympathized with me that I wrecked the front end of my car again. Wasn't much. I could fix it up. But yeah, nobody sympathized with me.
But your mama.
That was my mom. She was always
She's always a good mama.
yeah.
So So Grandpa, we've had a talk about George, and we've had a little talk about Margaret,
There.
and we've talked up to school. So could you tell us a little bit about growing up with your siblings? Like tell us something silly that happened with all those boys, and
Here's some stuff about my dad.
yeah, tell us bad stories about Bill, please.
About who?
About Bill.
That's Reed.
Well, there's not. What you mean?
Bill was an angel?
No, not me.
Oh, no, far from it.
Bill always said Bill walks around just like there's nothing to do in the whole world, and
He was very laid. He was very laid back, but he'd walk around sucking his tongue. I don't know why he done that, but he had that habit. He'd walk through. I could still see him over here one day. We was trimming a horse up, you know. Anton Ely was down, the old man, and Dad, and they had the horse down on his side, cutting him, you know. Bill walked by, and Dad wanted him to handle something. Bill, never even heard that. He was. His mind was in his own world.
So tell me, so it was you born first, and then Rosemary,
yes,
and then Walter.
yes.
You're testing me. I'm supposed to be testing you.
Yeah, I
and
know.
then
I hate doing this, but
Walter,
I know
Shirley,
I should, but
and
I
Leroy.
wish I could.
You left out
we
Bill
left out Bill.
Bill comes
before
after
Rosemary.
Walter.
So
No, Rosemary was only a year younger.
what do we think you're doing great?
Say, you told me one time, Joe,
Yeah,
I think we were out at this school out here. What was the name of that school?
Kansas City. It's behind the museum in Hettinger. Kansas City Township.
When
So
we went out there one time, I'm pretty sure I remember you telling me that a lot of times by the time you got to go to school, you were real late and behind because a lot of kids got to school, but you couldn't go to school until the harvest was done.
oh yeah, my when it was harvest time or anything, going to the country school, I would stay home with Dad in the spring. Though. The first day I started high school in Haines, I went with Tony Ely up to Zip to Zap up there to whatever the hell it was up there when they're big. It wasn't when the thing was going on, but I went up there and got railroad ties. But I didn't know you had to get permission to go. I thought you could just go when you felt like it. So him and I went up and got a load of ties, railroad ties.
What happened in Zap? I know there's like a sit-in, or there was
Zip to Zap.
Zip to Zap. That's
I
right.
forget what it was. It was a big bus.
1968. That was in 68.
What was that?
It was just an organized drunk.
It was
Yeah, it's what it was.
Woodstock, but in North Dakota.
Like Woodstock, you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
A college student couldn't afford to go to spring break, so he thought he'd make spring break come to him, and he advertised for this huge party, but then didn't have any of the facilities to facilitate this party, and the groups of people that came to it burned buildings down.
Yeah, they were
They
destructive.
urinated and fecal
Yeah.
material all over the town. The
Yeah.
National Guard was called in to get these kids out of this area. I want to say he was arrested, but I'm not certain on that part.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
Zip
It's
to
just,
Zap. That's right.
it was a destructive get together.
Very, yeah.
And you guys had these.
Hey, Dad, there's 15. Is there 15 years between you and Leroy?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty
Did you kind of have a hand in helping with his upbringing, or did you leave?
well,
Did you have?
no. Leroy was very independent. Still is.
If anybody helped him, it would have been Shirley.
Shirley, you got to
girls-
give Shirley credit.
Rosemary,
She
Shirley.
helped him a lot. I would help Mom with.
Was there a
I just said
sibling?
it right here. It was in there.
Sorry, no, that's okay. I thought you supposed to.
Was there a sibling that you grew up closest to? Rosemary was below you, but then it was Walter as another boy, or were you?
Walter, Bill.
Right. So was there one that you were particularly fond of growing up?
Not really that I can say that way. We all,
Was that where it was? Was it a loft up there or something?
I thought Bill and I remember us running around the haystacks and stuff and together, but Bill said, well, I never chummed around with you much. So I guess I've got to cut that out. But I always remembered him and I. We got along. And Walter and I always did this mutually. If I said it was green, he said it was purple.
So,
but that was Walter. Yep.
So
And another thing, Walter was good in his own way. When the argument was over, it was over. It was forgotten. It was gone. Never carried a grudge. Or he did not carry a grudge.
Never carried a grudge. He'd have his say, blow up, and he's done.
He'd tell her, he says, I shouldn't have done that.
You just got to have a car for me.
So remember when we was over there by Uncle Jake's?
Didn't
Windrowing
apologize
that,
for doing
he
it,
told
but
us,
he come and
there's a furrow along there. He says, but stay away from the fence about 8 feet. He says, don't cut over there. Well, I went over there and I couldn't even see that furrow. It was so old and stuff. And I didn't get close enough. And he gave me hell about that. Comes along and then he says, I shouldn't have hollered at Joe. What was that he was telling you over there? You
He felt bad that he was yelled at Joe, and I
says,
told him, tell Joe, no.
Yeah,
He's apologizing to me for Joe.
apologizing to her about it. I said, I know how I come home, and I was so good because Roy Yonder and all them guys couldn't get the old truck running. The old 46, it wouldn't run, but it wouldn't speed up. So I went to look at it and hear the damn butterfly on the vibration, or not the vibration, but the exhaust. What the hell they call that again?
He doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Carburetor.
Heat riser. Yeah, that was froze shut. I loosened that. Here, Roy, on all the way. I said, "Is it the muffler plugged up or stuff?" You know, ask them all them questions. No. I went under there and well, there's something. Grabbed hold of the heat riser. I said, it's solid. Well, no wonder there's something. And I was so proud that day. Then that's the day he gave me hell on that, cutting so far away from that. Well, later on, I seen where that thing went. Well, holy shit! It was only this far away from the fence about. And he said, "Don't get that close to the fence." So I didn't. I just stayed away from it. That I didn't know how old that trail was that he was talking about.
So we're kind of taking a fast forward through your life. So I know it's not what you want, but that's what we're going to do today.
Okay.
So could you tell me about your time in the service?
Yeah.
Oh God, I hardly remember that. No, I wasn't that bad, but I was pretty bad. Yeah, I drank quite a bit.
Yeah, I found him.
And,
So you were in the Army.
yeah, I was in the Army.
And you were stationed in Germany. And what was your job in the service?
I drove the communications officer in the Jeep.
In the Jeep.
What did that mean?
Huh?
So were you running?
Describe that?
Well, yeah, that comes about. We had a Lieutenant Reese there was my second lieutenant, and then I got a knew we was getting another new, and they were going to pick between them two who's going to be make first Louis, and the guy that I got to drive for was because I knew him and I was talking about tractors, and he was from farm community in Iowa or someplace. And he knew the tractors. True, when I mentioned the old 2236 or 1530s, talking about the old tractor, we hit on just like that, and we just got along, him and I. And the 55 Fords were brand new at that time. He had a nice little 55 Ford. But he was a good guy. We'd go out there. I could get the Jeep just about any time I wanted, and drive around, waste gas and stuff. But he was a really good guy, Lieutenant Gettings. And yeah.
In communications, and now he won't even answer the telephone.
I hated it. I wanted to get the engineers, and that's one of the last threats that Lieutenant Reese made to me. Just about was because I got in scrap with his little Indian friend that he had there in our barracks, And I really shined up, polished up his eyes good for him, and Lieutenant Reese didn't like that. So I got Article 15 and had to pull day duty for quite a while, latrine duty and everything else, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's just, no, I've had a good life, let's put it that way.
So
I would do things a little different than what I did, but
tell me how you met Grandma.
Huh?
How did you meet Grandma?
I didn't.
He met her at
She
the
chased
3 Mile
me all
Bridge.
over.
What did he say? He said
I
she
was a
chased him
wicked
all over.
16-year-old, let me tell you.
Did
Yeah,
you
I
guys
did.
meet at a dance or did you meet at?
No, her how
I
how
saw
they
you
kind
at
of
a
bonded that was when Eddie, was it Eddie Fink
Yeah.
got married? Was that Eddie? No, was it Eddie and Maisie got married,
Yeah.
or were practicing for
And
for their for their?
we're not going that far. Where did you meet me?
Well, that's what I got to tell you. I had to talk to your mom. I got
Dad
to get
had-
permission. I
They're
can't marry.
talking about when did you meet me? Where? Was it the Reader dance?
Yeah.
That's what Mom said at the 3 Mile Bridge.
Because
That's what Aunt Margaret
Bill
told
always
her.
said, well, I got a brother coming. You're going to like him. And I said, well, how old is he? Well, he's 25. And I'm going,
Yeah,
guy,
he-
he's got one foot in the grave, the other on a banana peel.
Yeah.
So he walks in, and Margaret always made his shirts just fit.
No, I had that from the service. I had always had them tailored.
But the pants you wore were not Levi's. I
No,
was
because
used-
my good friend Dominic was such a square that he always wore them big, what they call them? Big Macs or something like
something, you look like a kite upside down.
that. Yeah, I had,
Breeder hips.
You ask her to dance or?
Was it love at first sight?
No,
well, we met.
we went together. We went together 3 months. We were engaged for 3 months, and we got married.
And didn't have to, no.
I remember the priest
Yeah,
saying,
I mean.
her and Dr. Balin up Bowman kept that from happening. I think.
but when we went to take our lessons, the
She had
priest said,
back
well,
problem.
can we take the lessons or do we have to hurry this up?
Yeah.
And he turned bright red and said, we can wait. Okay, and we did.
The priest threw both of you, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was. Yeah, but I had to.
But he had
I
two-
had to get permission from her mom, so she was going to send her down to Arizona to
A charm
Yes,
school?
Yes.
We're not going to go there,
Why?
as I said so.
Huh?
We're not going to go there.
Oh, okay. I gotta keep my mouth shut because
So Joey,
evidently she don't want somebody
how
to hear something.
how old were you when you got married?
26,
And how old were you, Grandma?
16.
16.
So
And that's what.
So was Grandma Florence okay? Was she concerned when you asked her if it was okay? Was she like, no? She's 16.
Never said that.
No. She said, because I asked her about religion, you know, and or she asked her about religion or something. She said, well, we're just going to change temples, or churches, not
Gods.
God.
Yeah.
And your mother's not going to let you turn Catholic. So.
But the reason for that was because we were supposed to.
She was what?
She's Lutheran.
I was a Lutheran, and I said, Mom, I want to turn Catholic. And Mom said, oh, okay. I said, Mom, I want to turn Catholic. Well, you're just changing houses of worship. You're not changing gods.
Yeah, and also her sister she was married Kosteleki, wasn't that her name? No, not Kosteleki. Kakuskis.
Yeah, she'd already
Kakuskis
turned
was her
Catholic.
sister's name from Beach.
Mom.
Kakuskis up there, and her husband was Catholic,
But,
and her sister Vera.
Your wedding dress,
yeah,
was that made for you or was that a hand-me-down?
bought it at a store in Dickinson.
I think I
Yeah?
typed that. I'm not sure. No.
I was very small. Well, I was 16 when I got married, so everybody had to take my dress in. So years later, she said, Mom, could I wear your wedding dress? And I said, sure. She said, oh, don't worry, I can sew it in. And I'm going. She tried it on. She had to let it out. Well, she already had 2 kids, for God's sake.
But still, you were tiny, 19-inch waist, I think.
Yeah.
So
I'm
what?
tiny.
What? Tell me from either one of you. What's a memory from your wedding day?
I never saw so many people that I was related to in my whole life.
I don't know. We went to Lemon. We went down to the
Oh,
to that. Used to be a roller rink, and then it ended up a bar and everything else. It used to be called the Green Door.
You found these though?
Remember what's going on behind the Green Door? But anyway, it had a cement floor in for a while till they made it. I think it was a roller rink or something on it. I can't even remember
They
them.
ended up making a bowling alley out of it.
Bowling alley. That's what.
It was right where in Lemon, across the road to the east of where the grocery store is. There's this triangle building there.
Yep.
That used to be the Green Door.
Yeah.
And
but
then,
didn't they call it the rainbow?
it was a rainbow.
That's I think what they called it when we got married down there.
Yeah.
Because we had Weber down there. Didn't we? Did we have?
Yeah, we wanted the Charlie Triber
Yeah, we wanted.
boys,
We
but
want
they
the
couldn't get
the
those
what you
made.
call boys where Walter bought his motorcycle from. What the hell was it?
Tibor.
The
Tibers.
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 Yeah, Charlie and
Jerome.
Reed,
Jerome. Yeah.
get Reed over
Reed?
here. Reed,
Reed.
come over here.
Come here.
I'm her favorite.
Sit
That's all
down.
you need to
Get over
know.
here. I want to talk to you just a minute. So, okay, we're gonna get married.
Who is?
You.
Just be
You
quiet.
and John?
No, just be quiet. I'm going to tell a story on your dad. So, Bill was going to be one of our best men. Where's
Oh, yeah.
Bill?
Oh,
In
yeah.
jail. Because he went up the street with his cousin, and the cop stopped him because a pickle jar went out on the side of the smashed up.
Littering.
Aha.
And the cousin says,
No.
"Oh God, I just got a job. I can't do this." So your dad said, "I told him I did it." Well, then they put him in jail.
That was Elmer Heights.
Yeah. So they really were glad when your father went and said, I got to get him out of here because he's going to be the best man. And they said, "Thank God, half the high school girls are coming down here after school trying to get in here." That's one on your dad.
Wish my mom was here.
She might have been one of the girls trying to.
Oh,
Yeah. Not then. Soon, but not then.
That was a pack of nice-looking gentlemen. I had a terrible crush on Uncle Leroy. He looked just like Elvis Presley to me.
I know.
He was ridiculously nice. But all of you,
I
all
always,
of you were.
I always thought he looked like. What was the one that I always thought he looked a lot like? The blind guy.
Roy Orbison.
Huh?
Roy Orbison.
No, not Roy Orbison. The other
Oh,
played the piano.
yeah. Charles.
Oh, Ray Charles.
No,
Huh?
Liberace.
No.
Ronnie Millsap.
Don't get that.
Ronnie Millsap.
Ronnie Millsap.
Roddy Millsap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought.
We're barking up the window.
Up just sitting there, especially if he wore his dark glasses.
Now, okay, we're going to get married. I'm 16, he's 26. I'm a Lutheran, he's a Catholic. What a mess. Didn't have to get married. Everybody thought we did, said we did, but we didn't. Perry, I didn't have a baby till I was 18.
Jenny Clark said you didn't.
I know. But I didn't.
You also got married in.
And we got married. Joey had just turned 26 in December. We got married in January, and I turned 17 in February. But at the time, it was 26 and 16, and Hedinger's going. And then she's a
Aunt
Lutheran,
Jenny?
and she's a Norwegian to boot. Woof.
So where did you get married? Where was
Hedinger,
the
the
ceremony? At the Hedinger Catholic Church.
Yep.
Okay. And where was the reception?
Father Kovich, very good.
Downstairs for dinner and supper, and then we went to the dance in Lemon.
What happened during the week, though, then? When Wanda used Rollins' car?
Yeah, some of my bridesmaids had an accident.
New Pontiac?
My bridesmaid couldn't even bend her knees because she was in that car wreck. She said, "You'd have to be Catholic, wouldn't you?"
Yeah, and she's one of the few that was there. Who else was there?
Karen
With the black-
Sabo and Gail Gunderson were in the hospital. They were supposed to be there, couldn't be there. So we took the wedding party up there. And they fed us breakfast first.
You know,
Just in general.
I always kind of
you can go-
thought.
you can go
I
now,
always
Reed. I
kind
just
of
want
thought that old.
You can stay, Reed. We like you.
Old Massett would get your dad.
I would know her.
No,
Pam?
but I know, but your dad got some talking.
Are you talking
back
about
and
Pam?
forth.
Pam Massett?
Oh my God.
Yeah, but he ignored it.
Was she from Hettinger? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Massett, yeah.
Because Mom was from Lemon, so.
Yes.
So let's talk about raising kids. That would be next after marriage. So tell me, could you tell me some of when your kids were younger and you still lived in North Dakota? Give me a good memory.
I'll give you a memory. So we were at Juanita's house having coffee, which we did almost every single day. Everybody's sitting around her kitchen table smoking. And her little kids were running around with our little kids yelling and screaming. And somebody knocks at the door. Juanita goes to the door and she goes, "Can I help you?" And it's a Jehovah Witness. And she goes, "Well, come on in." And we're all going, "Oh my God." So we're all sitting there smoking cigarettes and this Jehovah Witness is talking. And Juanita keeps talking to him and she goes, "Oh, just a minute." She goes, "I got to get something." She goes in the bedroom, she comes out, she's got the Catholic Digest, and she goes, "Here, I'll buy your book if you want to buy mine." He left, and that was the end of that.
And that's who bought our place now. Not
Good
that
story.
good, but
Good story.
Oh, it was
they're
awful.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
We were just like, oh.
And they were nice.
Yeah, but
In
we couldn't
fact,
believe she asked him to come in. It's like, oh, God.
I
the
was
guy
always
that lost
friendly.
his arm, that Wilson that lost his arm,
Roger.
Roger Wilson, that was his wife that come there. And she's a very nice person.
Yes, she is.
She's a very nice person.
Kaylin?
I think that
I
was
think their
I don't
kids
know her
live
name.
down in
I
Sioux
don't know her
Falls.
name.
Jason and
But you know,
Sherry.
Kaylin
Roger-
was married to Roger, but she died.
The Jehovah
Just
Witnesses
recently?
magazine only
a long
cost a
time
he
nickel,
had
and
two
ours
wives,
was
I
like
think. But the next one has this name
I
very
said,
similar.
"Buy mine, I'll buy yours."
no, but Roger, that's a sad thing.
They
He
don't know him,
blew
don't
it. Well, I'm just going to fill him in who they are.
So what do you
But
know about
anyway.
your kids?
Tell me about when they were little and you were still living in Hettinger.
They were little.
They were little. So, okay, well,
Joey was gone a lot.
so
Yeah.
okay, so you were driving the beer truck at that time, right?
Yeah, well, from 59 on. I drove from 59 to 73.
Okay.
73 is when we went to Montana.
Okay. So
What do you
then,
remember about the kids, though?
Well, what should I remember about
You
it?
weren't there, I know.
I don't know. What are you trying
could
to
you
get
could
at?
you tell me could you tell me the story about when Perry drew on
James was a
you?
naughty one.
Oh, that's
was an
kind of a bad thing there.
It is bad, but we can laugh about it now.
Carol Ann
It
was
wasn't funny. I worked a long time to find that bullet.
Yes. So tell me, you came home from work.
He
Yeah,
had his
Perry.
gun, and Perry had his gun, and Perry said, "Draw." Joe come around like this. The gun went off.
Yeah, I
Perry
never
had a
left
hole in his
shells.
shirt.
I never left shells in that damn
Never.
thing. My .9, that little high standard.
He had a guardian angel.
But for some reason, I was putting on for driving. If I wore my pistol on the left-hand side, a little easier to get out of the truck. I was just going to go out and do a little shooting or something. I don't forget what the reason was. But Perry was home and he had his gun on. Well, draw, Dad. We reached over and went off. I don't know. I couldn't believe, number one, that I left shells in there. I never did. And after that, I did, though. I know the shells. But anyway, I couldn't find it. And I didn't stop till what?
Found it in the
About
arm.
3 hours, and I found it I found a spot where it went in the armrest. And then I kind of put him where he was at about, and where that shell went, and it must have went right underneath it. Arms or someplace. Never touched him, but he had a little, and it was so stupid. It was kind of a burn mark. It went a little hole in it. I thought that's where it went in. He didn't have a mark on him on his chest.
I run in the bedroom because Chore was
Yeah.
a baby in the bedroom. Make
Yeah.
sure she hadn't got it. But it was
We
scary.
didn't know where it hit, and I found it.
So tell me a story about Tim.
Tim. He fell out of a tree once.
He fell out of the trees.
Hurt his back or something.
Tim did?
Yeah.
He said,
At the end of our block or something, wasn't it?
He had stitches and stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
he
wasn't
had
the end.
Across the street.
Huh?
Across the street in the trees when they were trees.
because he said, I'll never do that again, Mom. I said, what did you do? He said, I got up in that tree and I told a bad joke and I fell out of the tree.
You got punished, huh?
Yeah.
Telling naughty jokes. Okay. How about Jim? Can you give me one on Jim? A memory about Jim?
Peace.
Huh?
Peace.
Peace.
Jim would take every bicycle, everything he could find with wheels. He had a bicycle to sit here, and the tire was clear out here because he'd connect everything up. Done that his whole life, racing. Just,
Yeah. I don't.
yeah, he
There's
did.
things, but I can't remember all of them.
How about Vic? Give me a Vicky story.
She was our first daughter.
Yes, she was. That's right.
And our neighbor come up and passed out cigars because they said, we all know Joe makes boys, so Lawrence Schmidt passed out cigars.
Yeah,
A little
that's
hard
right.
to take. I know.
Okay, and then how about Terrell?
Terrell? Well, Terrell was the youngest. She had
was
nobody
born-
to tell anything to.
She was born in the big house.
Yep. So
We lived in the Doc Fugler, or it's a big, you know which house. You're
So
from.
she's going to Sunday school. She has nobody to talk to younger than her, but she had a cat named Thomas.
How about
So
that?
she takes Thomas by the head, sits him, shows him the crucifix. She said, Thomas, you could say Jesus Christ when you're happy, but you can't say Jesus Christ when you're mad. Only when you're happy. And that cat's just going,
Yeah, the other thing, what about when she went down there and won that, what's it called, bitter?
that was Vicky.
Oh,
She
yeah,
was born
that's
in
right,
the-
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, she went down, she'd give Tim's guinea pig watermelon and pull it away. Well, it bit her. I said, okay, now we got to go get a tetanus shot, which we did, and she didn't want it. We come home and she left, and I'm going, where is she? She come upstairs. I said, you been down with that guinea pig again?
Yeah, sure.
I show him, I show him, I show him. And she did, she held him. Wasn't going to bit her again.
Yeah, you don't screw around with Vicky.
No.
Okay, so we've had all of our children, and we've made our family complete. Now we're thinking about moving to Montana.
Yeah?
What did
No.
how did that go about?
Why did we move to
No,
Montana?
because Izzy called us and what?
Yeah, but why did we want to go? Because the beer company's going to go to Dickinson, and we didn't want to go
Yeah,
there.
I didn't want to move to Dickinson. I didn't want, they were going to move to business. See, in the meantime, we'd sold our beer distributing plant. Tony sold it. And Jerome's come down from Devil's Lake. They bought it.
Okay.
And they're more interested in selling coolers and bullshit like that. I hate all they were.
He didn't want to go to Dickinson, and about that time, Izzy called us, college check called us in Montana, and said, why don't you come out here and work for me? I need a good North Dakota guy.
Need somebody that knows how to work.
Yeah. So
And
we
he
went.
never really gave me a whole. He gave me a job as a supervisor, and I never did do much. Go with him. He wanted somebody to run with him a little bit. But we did. We made some big improvements there.
I got to back up and
made-
talk about Tim for a minute. Okay. So it's Halloween night. Kids are all getting dressed up. I said, who do you want to look like? Aunt Esther. I said, what do you mean you want to look like Aunt Esther? I want to look like Aunt Esther. She was pregnant. Clear out the hair. Okay, so I found a wig, got a coat, put a pillow here, put the pillow all the way around here. He goes, now I got boobs too. And we went out and Halloweened all night, so I didn't understand that kid quite much.
Shit, you let your kids get away with.
Terrell is the one that said, Mom, you always made the meals. Why didn't you make us wash the dishes? I said, 'cause if I said time to wash dishes, it was the only time I was alone for a half hour. It was nice.
I remember washing dishes
No beans.
and drying dishes.
Yeah, you were so hardly worked. Once, yeah.
Okay, so we got to Montana, and we've got our family settled out there. What's next? What happens next in the life and times of Joe and Juanita?
Raising a lot of kids.
Raising a lot of kids. Teenage kids.
Teenage kids.
Moved a lot.
Yeah. So we finally found the place we wanted.
There's the move.
And,
You moved every time you.
The young one here fell in love with some, I don't know what his name was, but I thought he was a little nuts. But that's okay, because he bought her shoes for her birthday or something. I'm going, boy, isn't that romantic? Do you remember that, Bill? Yeah, she bought her
Hiking boots.
hiking boots. And I'm going, boy, he's a romantic bugger, isn't he? Next time you, yeah, and then you come down with some dishes, and I'm going, man's nuts. I'm saying, her choice. So.
So, Grandpa, when did you start driving truck?
Log truck or other truck?
The log truck. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't buy that till 1960.
Oh,
Yeah, the winter
past that.
59.
Way past that, Dad.
Huh?
Way past that. I was born in '66.
Yeah, I know about driving. You were born before I had the log truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The log truck
what year
business.
did you start the log truck driving? Do you remember?
You did that in like '80s.
Yeah, what did I say? 60,
Yeah.
didn't I? Yeah, oh, sorry about that. Yeah, in,
Or maybe in the '90s even.
no, 90, I think 90. I think I bought the truck in 89, was it? 90.
That's probably right. We were already married.
We had a
Yeah,
lot of
about
fun
90,
learning how
I
to
think.
drive a
Yeah.
log truck. I said,
1990, I think I bought my
how come
log
it's got
truck.
so many shifts?
And Catlin, I don't know if you knew.
But his dad had a lot to help me. His dad helped. Well, I wanted to get out. Wanted to get away from what was his name that I logged for when I bought the truck. Wayne Turner. That's your dad helped me out. Oh, we went to the east side that time, Hammer up there. That's where I got my driver's license, or got my
CDL.
CDL over there. And I had the first brand new. I had the first CDL when I come back. Got it when I come back to Montana. When I went west of, I remember when I got to the way station. I hated. That's why I used to hate the haul over. They always had to go across the scale. And when I stopped in there, that guy said, "Oh, that's what one of these new CDLs look like." I had the first CDL, not the first in Montana, probably, but it was just brand new then. They weren't out much.
Yeah, they were chauffeur license, I think.
Yeah, before there was just a
Chauffeur's
chauffeur's license.
Yeah. I could tell a cute one after we were married.
Yeah, she's a storyteller.
We went dancing, and this guy come and asked me to dance, and I danced with him. And there was no bar there, so if you wanted to share a drink, they'd say, "Come on out to the car, and we'll give you a drink." And he said,
That was at the
"Rainbow."
Rainbow, yeah.
So he said, "Would you like to come out to the car and have a drink?" And I said, "Sure, just a minute, I'll get my husband." I said, I'll get my husband." He said, "Your husband?" I said, "Yeah." What's your maiden name? I said, "Nagel." He was Joey's cousin. And he said, "You married to Nagel?" And I said, "Yeah."
That's
"Which
Freddie.
one?" "Joe." "Oh my God, don't tell Joe I asked you out for a drink." And I said, "Well, I was going to get Joe, so go out with us."
Who asked you out? Who was it?
It was
Freddie.
one of Joe's Freddie, his name was. Every time we get together now, he says, "You want to go out for another drink?" And I said, "Yeah, anytime." That was just a big joke at the time, because
Yeah.
he just, whoa.
Freddie. Can't even think of his name. I better remember it. He'll be up there tomorrow.
He'll be up tomorrow.
Yeah, then,
Yes. I was here till I was 7.
Nobody remembers her.
I don't remember.
They remember I had 4 or 5 kids, but no, you had 4. No, I didn't. She always said, "Well, how come I didn't come with the first 4? Because they come in 4 years." Bing, 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 bing. And I said, "They were just practice, and then I had you."
That's right.
Anything to shut her up.
Now you call her whoops, huh?
She tells me also that she was on the rhythm system, and when they moved to another house, she lost her calendar. Oops.
I also told you I didn't have any money for your father's birthday in December. That's why you were born in September.
What a gift.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yikes.
Okay, well, thank you very much for doing this for me, Grandpa. Thank you for doing this
You're
for
welcome.
me. Okay.
Let's say one thing.
Yes.
Love all you guys.
I know you do. We
More
love
than
you
you
too.
will ever know.
We love you too.
So, Kat, not to change the subject, but where do you come from?
So,
Go ahead.
so I'm from
I
Joe
can't.
and Juanita's oldest son.
Perry,
Okay.
they're good.
So, you grew up here?
I grew up on the ranch just north of here.
That way, north.
Oh, south. I'm sorry. You're right. South of here. Sorry.
The other
Yep.
north.
Right. I forget which place I'm talking about. The other
Back
north.
end of
yeah.
north.
Yeah. So I grew up over there. We moved back. We moved from
They moved.
Montana when I was 7.
Yeah, they moved here before we did.
Yes. So we moved. My mom is.
That lady that was sitting there.
Yeah, she had a white shirt on. She might have gone. Anyway,
Is
she.
your mom here?
She was here.
She was here. Kathy was here.
She left?
So she. We
She
moved
left already?
and from Montana, and then we came. We actually lived here first. We moved in with Walter.
Okay.
And then we got a place in town. We lived there. We moved to Airport Road, and then Leroy decided it was time for him to leave the place, and then we bought that place up there.
Okay.
So
Do you remember the morning you left Montana?
yes, I do.
You said, Grandma, don't worry, when I'm 18, I'm coming right back here. Okay.
So I knew when I was 7 years old I was going to school in Bozeman. Because I don't know why Bozeman, I picked Bozeman. You'd think I'd pick Missoula living in Whitefish, but I picked Bozeman, and I knew I was going to Bozeman from 7 years old because I was so pissed at my dad for making us move. And went to Bozeman and met the love of my life. And was not a second thought when we had the chance to come back home.
Yeah. Yeah, North Dakota.
Yeah, I
that
called
way.
them one time, and she answered, and I said, "Are your folks there?" No, they'll be right back, though. I said, "How come you're not in school?" Grandma, you're not going to believe this. She turned the radio on, and they said, "There's no school today." I said, "Oh, can you see outside?" No, it's all white.
Blizzarding out.
She didn't get a blizzard. She didn't know what it was.
Montana blizzards, the snow falls just straight down,
Yeah.
and North Dakota blizzards, the snow falls this way.
You're not going to believe this, Grandma.
Yep.
She also called me one day and she said, "Grandma, I got to tell you this because I don't know if you know this." I said, "Okay, what?" Brakes don't work on ice. Forgot I was raised here. I said, "Well, what happened?" She goes, "I was just going to stop for gas and I just went right by him and whoop." I said, "Did you hurt your outfit or anything?" "No, it was slowed down by then." I'm going, "Okay."
I totaled the car I hit, though. My
Now I'll
car
tell
was
you a bad
fine.
one on her. She called me and she says, "Grandma, you're not going to walk around the lake today, are you?" And I said, "Not planning
That
on
was
it.
what-
Why?" And she said,
I think
"Well, I
that's the
drank too
day
much
your
last
dad
night
was,
and got sick and
when
I
we
think
were
I
up
puked
there
all
at
the way
the
around."
corner, was it? When
Yeah.
he was so cranky.
He was so
And I
mad
said,
at me.
"Well, you've been there yourself."
I backed into the only fence post in the hayfield.
Yeah.
And he told me not. He said, "There's a fence post back here. Don't hit it." And sure as shit, I backed right into it. And he
Well, the
comes
way she
over
was-
to the truck and he is chewing my ass. And I looked at him and I just rolled up the window.
Yeah,
Was that your dad?
yeah. Perry.
And Joey even got after me. He said, "You're a little hard on her, don't you think?" She's probably hungover. And I was.
But I like the picture.
Okay, I think we're gonna kind of wrap it up so you don't have to be on the spotlight anymore. But is there anything else that you want us to tell? You want to tell us, or is there something, a memory that we missed, or anything like that?
No.
I mean, we missed a lot of memories. I know.
Oh God. Yeah, I can't go into that. It throws me a curve if I get into all my memories because I've got, everything leads back to something else and you keep starting over is all that happens.
I know.